Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. Ever stop to think about how you're even watching this video right now? It's something we use every single day, from ordering food to connecting with loved ones across the globe. But have you ever wondered, who actually invented the internet? It's a question with a surprisingly complex answer. It wasn't one person in a garage having a eureka moment. Instead, the internet is the result of decades of collaboration, brilliant minds, and even a bit of Cold War paranoia. So grab your digital seatbelts, because today we're going to unravel the incredible story of how the internet came to be and why it was created in the first place. Trust me, the story is more fascinating than you might think. Let's rewind the clock to the late 1950s. The world was in the midst of the Cold War, a tense standoff between the United States and the Soviet Union. In 1957, the Soviets launched Sputnik, the first artificial satellite, into orbit. This event sent shockwaves through the American government and scientific community. They realized they needed a technological edge. In response, the U.S. government created the Advanced Research Projects Agency, or ARPA. Its mission was simple but ambitious: to fund high-risk, high-reward research to ensure the U.S. maintained a technological lead. One of the key challenges they faced was communication. How could they create a communication network that could survive a potential attack? If one part of the network was destroyed, how could the rest continue to function? This was the seed from which the internet would grow. The problem was that traditional communication systems like the telephone network used something called circuit switching. When you make a phone call, a dedicated single circuit is created between you and the person you're calling. That line is yours for the entire conversation. But what if that line is cut? The connection is lost. ARPA needed something more resilient, something decentralized. The solution came in the form of a revolutionary idea called packet switching. This concept was developed independently by several brilliant minds around the same time, including Leonard Kleinrock in the US, Donald Davies in the UK, and Paul Baran at the RAND Corporation. Here's how packet switching works, in a nutshell. Instead of sending one big chunk of information down a single path, your data, whether it's an email, a picture, or this video, is broken down into tiny pieces called packets. Each packet is like a little digital envelope. It contains a piece of the data, the address of where it's going, and the address of where it came from. These packets are then sent out into the network. They don't all have to travel the same route. They can zigzag across the country, bouncing from one computer node to another, kind of like cars navigating a city's streets. If one road is blocked, they simply find another way. Once all the packets arrive at their destination, the receiving computer reassembles them in the correct order to recreate the original message. This decentralized, flexible system was the perfect solution for ARPA's needs. It was robust, efficient, and could withstand damage to parts of the network. With the theory of packet switching in place, the next step was to actually build the network. This project was called ARPANET. The first major milestone happened on a fateful day in October 1969. At a lab in UCLA, a team led by the aforementioned Leonard Kleinrock prepared to send the very first message over the network. The destination was another computer hundreds of miles away at the Stanford Research Institute. The message they intended to send was the word login. They typed the letter L and asked their colleagues at Stanford over the phone, "Did you get the L?" "Yep, got the L," came the reply. They typed the O. "Did you get the O?" "Yep, we got the O." Then they typed the G, and the system crashed. So the first message ever sent over what would become the internet was LO. It might not sound glamorous, but it was a monumental achievement. The connection was made. By the end of 1969, 4 university computers were connected to ARPANET, and the digital revolution had officially begun. But connecting a few computers is one thing. Creating a global network of networks is another. As ARPANET grew, a new problem emerged. Different computer networks were being developed, and they all spoke different languages. They couldn't communicate with each other. It was like having a room full of people who all speak different languages with no translator. To solve this, 2 pioneering computer scientists, Vinton Cerf and Robert Kahn, developed a universal set of rules, or protocols, that all networks could use to communicate. This was the Transmission Control Protocol and the Internet Protocol, better known today as TCP/IP. Think of TCP/IP as the universal language of the Internet. TCP is responsible for breaking the data into packets and reassembling them correctly at the destination, ensuring no data is lost. IP is responsible for addressing the packets and routing them to the right place. On January 1, 1983, a day known as Flag Day, ARPANET officially switched over to using TCP/IP. This was the moment the modern Internet was truly born. Any network that could speak TCP/IP could now connect to this growing super network. For its first couple of decades, the Internet was primarily the domain of scientists, academics, and the government. It was powerful, but not very user-friendly. Using it required typing complex commands into a black screen. It was far from the intuitive graphical experience we know today. That all changed in 1989. A British computer scientist named Tim Berners-Lee, working at CERN, the European Organization for Nuclear Research in Switzerland, had an idea. He wanted to create a better way for scientists to share and link their research papers. He envisioned a system where you could click on a reference in one document and be instantly taken to the related document, even if it was on a computer on the other side of the world. He called this concept hypertext. To make this vision a reality, Berners-Lee invented three fundamental technologies that are the bedrock of the web we use today. First, he created HTML, the hypertext markup language, which is the standard language for creating web pages. Second, he invented the URL, or Uniform Resource Locator, which is the address for each web page, like the ones you type into your browser. And third, he created HTTP, the Hypertext Transfer Protocol, which is the protocol that allows your browser to request and retrieve web pages from a server. He also built the world's first web browser, which he called World Wide Web, and the first web server. In 1991, he put the world's very first website online. It explained what the World Wide Web was and how to use it. Suddenly, the Internet had a friendly face. It was no longer just about data. It was about interconnected information that anyone could access. The creation of the World Wide Web was the spark that ignited the Internet's explosion into public consciousness. But the fire truly spread with the release of the first popular graphical web browser called Mosaic in 1993. Developed by a team at the University of Illinois led by Mark Andreessen, Mosaic was a game changer. For the first time, people could see images and text on the same page and navigate the web simply by pointing and clicking on links. It was intuitive, it was visual, and it made the Internet accessible to everyone, not just tech experts. This led to the dot-com boom of the mid to late 90s. Companies rushed to create their online presence. Investors poured billions into Internet startups, and millions of people got online for the first time, hearing that iconic dial-up modem sound. The world was connecting in a way it never had before, giving rise to giants like Amazon, Google, and eBay, and fundamentally changing how we shop, communicate, learn, and entertain ourselves. So, who invented the Internet? The answer is there's no single inventor. It was an evolution, a collaborative effort built on the shoulders of giants. It was the visionaries like J.C.R. Licklider who first conceived of a global network. It was the engineers like Kleinrock, Davies, and Baran who developed the theory of packet switching. It was the builders like Vint Cerf and Bob Kahn who created the universal language of TCP/IP, allowing networks to connect. And it was the innovator, Tim Berners-Lee, who gave the Internet a user-friendly interface with the World Wide Web. And let's not forget the countless other researchers, programmers, and engineers who contributed along the way. The Internet wasn't invented by one person, but by a community, driven by a desire for resilient communication and a passion for sharing knowledge. From its origins as a military project designed to withstand a catastrophic attack, the Internet has evolved into a global platform for creativity, commerce, and connection. It has democratized information, empowered social movements, and created entire new industries. Of course, this incredible tool also comes with challenges that we are still learning to navigate, but its impact on humanity is undeniable. It's a testament to what we can achieve when brilliant minds from around the world work together to solve complex problems. It's a story of collaboration, innovation, and the fundamental human desire to connect. And that's the incredible journey of how the internet was created. It's a story that's still being written every day by all of us who use it. What started as LO in a university lab has become the nervous system of our modern world. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive into tech history. I hope you found it as fascinating as I do. If you enjoyed this video and learned something new, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel for more stories about the technology that shapes our lives. Don't forget to hit that notification bell so you won't miss our next video. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.